All right, it is Friday, February 16th, the year 2018. We have Jeffrey Weinhaus on the line from prison. Been in prison over 5 years for a crime that he could not have committed. We are 18 minutes and 11 seconds, Jeffrey, into the audio from...
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
We are 18 minutes and 11 seconds into the audio from Sergeant Henry Folsom, who attempted to murder you on September the 11th, 2002. And 2012. Why did I say 2002? 2012. Keep me straight. We've identified that he's lied several times in his description of what happened that day. He said that he brought you papers. He said that he told you to take your hand off the gun, which he did not do. And he said a lot of things that simply have not happened and were not true. And so because he's pugned his integrity over and over again, you're simply sitting in prison because of the word of this man, and there is no victim in your crime. You were the one who was shot 4 times, and I pray that people investigate your case, Jeffrey, and that we can make noise and shine light and bring awareness about this, so that we can bring some justice to your situation. But if you're okay with it, brother, unless you have anything to add before we get started on part 2, I'll hit the play button on 18 minutes and 11 seconds.
Well, Rudy, I just wanted to let people know, too, the unique thing about this whole situation, it was witnessed by 2 Federal Bureau of Investigation officers, Mike Marshak and Cunningham. I can't remember his first name. But they witnessed the whole thing, and in light of what happened with the school shooting, how the FBI dropped the ball on that matter, they also dropped the ball on my matter because they don't see a weapon on me nor any attempt to draw the weapon. And they failed to do anything about the troopers who gunned me down in cold blood. And there again, the day after this interview was conducted, it was conducted on Wednesday, September 12th. And right then and there, they should have arrested Sergeant Folsom. He was dismissed from the highway patrol, but I believe he was not fired because he tried to kill me, because he failed to kill me. They were there to ambush me and to kill me, and this audio of what I'm ready to go through, the first hour, we only made it 18 minutes in, and the rest is my comments on the lies, errors, and omissions that Sergeant Folsom put forth to Investigator Perry Smith. So let's go from there, Rudy, and we'll try to get through this one.
Okay, Jeffrey, here we go, brother.
With his hand and places.
So what you're showing me with your hand and on the side of your leg is he's pulling his hand up on the holster?
Well, the holster has a spring. First you have to pull down and it releases. Then you have to sweep the entire flap away.
Okay.
And then you have to reach inside and draw the gun completely straight out. It doesn't have any breakaway. It's not cut down or anything. It's made to hold the gun if you jump out of an airplane.
Okay. And so what he was doing, he was pulling up. Had he already put the flap back?
He swept the flap then.
Okay.
You know, like we teach you to sweep your jacket, he swept the flap. And then he was able to get his hand on the gun completely.
So at that point in time he exposed his gun?
Right there, Rudy.
Yep, I'm stopping.
What he just described, think how long he took to describe it.
Yeah.
And that my actions would have been at least that long of what he took to describe it. They shot me, from the best I could tell, within 13 seconds. He just described something that would have taken at least 5 to 6 seconds.
Yeah. Amen. Was your video watch on your right hand or your left hand?
The video watch is on the left hand.
Okay. And you're in the reflection in the paint of the vehicle, the gun was on your left side. So that would have clearly been documented had you done any sort of sweeping movement he's talking about.
Right. They all allege, both him and Corporal Mertens allege I tried to draw from my right side. The FBI had a clear view of my right side. They make no mention of a gun nor any attempt to draw. The FBI simply say my hands went to my front waistline, which would account for me being able to get the shot coming out of the gun at me. If you freeze frame that, and I'm sure people have seen the picture of the shell ejecting out of the gun as he shoots me.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen.
You know, Rudy, I'm pretty talented, but I'm not able to do something with my left hand and simultaneously draw a weapon with my right hand.
Yeah, I understand.
Especially when it's not on the right side.
Yeah, I understand, brother. I understand. All right. Well, I'll continue on then.
Okay.
He already had the gun exposed. I could see it in the holster, and I had already asked him, why do you have the gun? At that point in time, he unsnapped the holster and placed his hand on the gun.
Okay. Now, when he unsnaps, does it make a click or something, or some type of noise? Or
I don't remember hearing it, but no, they're pretty quiet.
Right.
And so, to be honest, that was the sole entire thing I was looking at.
Right.
I mean, everything, that's what I was looking at.
Sure.
So I knew that I had no shot. Scott was behind me somewhere. I knew he had no shot. So at that point, I chose to leave the cover and to change my position to get a better tactical angle where I could fire. And I took 2 steps out away from the car.
Away from his car?
Away from his car.
To the left or to the right?
To the left. And so now he's 1 step ahead of me here, and I'm here. And I still had a bad angle. I still was, at that point now, I'm aiming at the gas pumps.
Okay.
And so I took another step left. And during that time is when I told him to get down on the ground. And at that point, I had a clear backdrop. There was a big, huge tree, and there was nothing but yard, and right there, I had a good angle. And at that point, I said, Jeff, get your hand off the gun. And he said, you're gonna have
I got to stop there, brother. I got to stop there.
First of all, let's go back to the angle he had. He says he took two steps, and then he took another 3rd step. There were people at the gas pumps. There were people all around the gas station. He never had a good angle. Corporal Mertens also fired as well, and 2 of his gunshots, I would assume, ended up in the wall of the gas station with people inside the gas station. And of course, we know, we've all heard the tape where it's not nowhere on the tape where he told me to get my hand off the gun.
Yeah. For him to blatantly lie like that, Jeffrey, I told him to get his hands off the gun. It's like so ingrained in his mind that he's going to lie about this whole day because he knows he's got something to cover up. And yet, for that not to be a centerpiece of your trial, and then it's just unfathomable that, you know, your lawyer doesn't make a big deal about that and make it a centerpiece. I mean, this guy is blatantly lying about the description of the events, and it's just insanity to me that this wasn't used to impugn his credibility.
Well, had he really said that, then, you know, in all reality, he had every right to shoot me if I wouldn't have removed my hand off the gun.
Yeah.
But my hand was never on the gun. I never attempted to draw the gun. We can prove it's on the opposite side of what he says it's on. Basically, everything that Sergeant Folsom put in this audio interview with the Highway Patrol, from the start to the finish, is a lie.
Yeah. I understand.
And I knew about it. My lawyer knew about it. The prosecuting attorney knows about it. The Attorney General of the state of Missouri knows about it. The governor of the state knows about it, and I still sit in prison.
Yeah, and it's we live in a twilight zone, Jeffrey, and not only that, but they put a shock collar on you, right? And if they were to push that button, it would have the warning label on the collar, which they went out and purchased specifically for you, had never been done before. And if they were to push that button, it has a warning sticker that says it can cause the recipient of this shock to pee and defecate himself. And they used that on you during your trial, that if you said anything out of line, that they had you under threat of shock. And that's hard to believe, too. I mean, it's hard to believe this is going on in America, but unfortunately, we find ourselves in this situation.
Amen.
All right. Okay, brother, we're starting again. We're at 20 minutes and 16 seconds.
To shoot me, or something to that effect. And at that point, he began drawing the weapon out of the holster.
Okay,
and he had the weapon up in his...
Okay, yep.
Interrupted, but my goodness gracious. You listened to the tape, and we came up with the idea that instead of you're going to have to shoot me, perhaps I said you don't have to shoot me. But regardless of what I said, the Highway Patrol instructor said that was no reason even if I said you're going to have to shoot me, to actually shoot me.
No, amen, Jeffrey. Amen. You know what it reminds me of, and I want you to keep your train of thought. Don't let me interrupt you, but Lavoy Finicum said something very, very similar before they murdered him, and nobody says just because he said something like that, that does not give the FBI, or in your case, the Missouri State Troopers, a valid excuse to murder somebody. I mean, you know, and so I agree with you. You could have said either way, and I realize that was a long time ago, and you don't remember, you know, much from that day after they shot you in the head, but I could very well see that you very well could have said you don't have to shoot me, man. But even if you didn't say that, if you actually said you're gonna have to shoot me, that's still not a valid reason for them to actually try to murder you.
Amen.
Yeah, and Lavoy Finicum said something very similar, and it's absolutely crazy what we're allowing these cops to get away with. But all right, brother, let's start up again.
And he had just maybe all but an inch or 2 inches of the barrel out. You know, the barrel still hadn't cleared the holster, but the gun come out several inches because you have to draw that gun. It doesn't break away like our holster. You have to draw it all the way up to get it out. Okay. And so he was drawing it all the way out. At that point, I feared in my life and the life of everyone that was there at the gas station.
Yeah.
At trial, he admitted he was not in fear for his life.
It really incredible. You know, it's almost like they got to say that phrase. I heard that Mertens might have said something very similar. I feared for my life. It's like they're trained by the police organizations that anytime they attempt to shoot somebody, they got to say that, right? So it's like it's almost like a pat answer.
Yeah, Folsom admitted at trial that he was not in fear for his life because of his pride.
Wow. Wow.
Which, you know, obviously you're not in fear for your life, then why'd you shoot me?
Right, right.
Go on.
Interesting.
Was in danger, and at that point I got a good sight picture, and I fired 2 rounds to his chest and 1 round to his head. And when I fired the 2 rounds to his chest, I mean, it was immediate, it was just... And when I fired those rounds, I saw his eyes roll up in the back of his head, and he kind of swayed backwards. I then took another step left because those guys were still approaching. And at that point, I heard a gunshot. I mean, and I knew I didn't shoot it. And when I fired the 3 shots, all those guys over there started screaming. I could hear them yelling and screaming. And so I fired the 3 shots, and after I heard the other shot, I scanned everybody, everything there, and I looked back at him. He still had his hand on the damn gun trying to pull it out, so I fired 1 last shot to his head, and I was probably maybe 6 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously I didn't even try to draw. He heard the other gunshot. His line of thinking was the gutter guys were firing back at him.
Yeah.
And he goes on to admit that a little later on, but I just had to throw that in there.
Oh,
remember,
because
he was in the Army. He was trained. He was a trained bodyguard or some official capacity as far as in the Department of Defense. And this guy had tremors and was getting actually a disability check from the Army because of his condition, and the Missouri Highway Patrol hired this man. In 2001, Sergeant Folsom actually killed a man in another incident, and he was not let off the force then.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like he has a history of this sort of behavior, and when you say that he heard another gunshot and he thought they were firing at him, you're probably referring to the gutter people that showed up around the same time you pulled.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I got you. Okay, all right. Gotcha. Okay. Here we go.
From him. And at that point, when Scott fired his round, he'd already started to rotate a little bit. And so at that point, he had rotated his torso, kind of looking at Scott now, because Scott fired from an angle behind the car.
Counterclockwise?
Yeah, he rotated counterclockwise. When I fired that last shot, he was rotating, but I put the front sight blade right on his head and squeezed the trigger. And so he fell down on the ground, and he landed pretty hard because he landed.
Okay.
That last shot he fired, that bullet ended up in the ground and went through the back of my neck, the base of my skull, around my spine, and ended up in the ground.
That was a kill shot.
Well, yeah. He'll admit further on that my whole head was in his sight picture.
Wow. Incredible. It's an absolute miracle that you're still alive today, Jeffrey. Absolute miracle. I mean, one bullet would have been enough to kill anybody else, but you took 2 to the head and 2 to the chest. And while you're going down, he's still shooting at your head. He's shooting at your head as you're on the ground.
And the pictures are there to prove it. You've seen the pictures of me in the emergency room. The first bullet to the head hit my temple and literally skipped out the top of my head.
Wow, incredible. Okay.
And these were 40 caliber hollow point bullets fired at point blank range.
Yeah.
And you tell me there isn't a God?
Yeah, no, there is a God, Jeffrey, and he protected you that day.
Amen.
All right, here we go.
It looked like face first. At that point, I scanned again, and the FBI guys are running. And I started screaming, "Cover me, cover me, cover me." And the FBI guys took a position along the building, drew their weapons, and I reached in my back pocket, got my handcuffs out, and when I went to approach him, he still had his hand on the gun. His hand was still wrapped around the gun. He's laying forward on his abdomen. His hand's still on the gun. Well, I know how that holster releases. It has 2 clips, and it'll pop right off your belt. I reached in there and pulled the gun into the holster, popped the clips, and then threw the holster and the gun away from me, behind me.
I got to stop it there myself. Did he say he threw the gun back into the holster? So it's like he. Go ahead, Jeffrey, and say what you want to say, brother.
Yeah, he says he shoved the gun back down in the holster, okay, and then threw the gun back. But there's a picture of the gun taken at the crime scene with the gun halfway out of the holster. And, of course, there's a little dust on top of the thing to where they staged that photograph.
Yeah. That's very convenient that he testifies that he put the gun back in the holster, which would have matched up with you not pulling it at all. You know, it's like, how convenient that he says he did that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go. Hey, Jeffrey, just to share with you, and I don't want to get us off track, but I did have another prisoner call me twice just a few minutes ago during this interview. If he calls a third time, I might just put this on pause just for a second to let him know that I've got a priority interview going on with you, and that I'll tell him to call me back later tonight. But if that happens, just to let you know what's going on.
Yeah, I'll take over from there whenever you get back.
Right? No, yeah, and I appreciate that.
We'll lose the recording then, won't we?
No, I'm still going to go ahead and record it, but I'm just going to. It'll be like a 30-second delay while I tell him that
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, here we go. All right.
And at that point, I started to cuff him, and I cuffed him, and immediately when I cuffed him, Scott heard me say, "Cover me," while I handcuff him. He says he was on the radio. Well, then, calling for help. Well, when the FBI guy came running to me, I didn't know that, so I screamed at Mike, the FBI guy, Mike Morschek, "Get an ambulance right now, get an ambulance." So Mike said, okay, he pulled out his phone.
Okay.
You've heard the tape. Do you hear him say, "Call an ambulance"?
I don't recall that at all.
No, he gets on the phone to his boss, George Knowles, and says he's down. Something along those lines. Well, listen to the aftermath of this. His first priority is to call his boss and say, "Hey, basically, I finished the job."
Yeah, right. Incredible.
Go on.
Okay.
And Scott said, "I already called one." And so at that point, I honestly thought I maybe shot at one of them guys that was over there or something, because when I heard him scream. And so at that point, I was more concerned with.
Did you catch that, Rudy?
He heard somebody. He heard somebody scream.
Well, no, but back it up just a bit there, and listen to what Folsom says in his own words.
Okay, or at 23:48, I'm gonna try to go back just a bit. Let's see if I can. Okay, we're at 23:32.
Okay, he pulled out his phone and Scott said, I already called one. And so at that point, I honestly thought I maybe shot at one of them guys that was over there or something, because when I heard him scream. And so at that point, I was more concerned with who those people were. He said he was bringing other people. And so I stepped to the left, and I was standing by his head on the left side. At that point, Scott came up, and we rolled him over to the recovery position on his side, because I handcuffed him behind his back, and Scott began to talk to him, saying, come on, Jeff, stay with us, the ambulance is on the way, things like that. I met and contacted FBI guys, and the first thing I asked those guys is, who are these guys? And they said, man, they're just two guys that are fixing the roof, and some guy from Australia who screamed like you threw hot water on him. And I said, yeah. I said, it scared me to death. And at that point, the ambulance, cars started, we started hearing sirens, and the two Troop C officers that we had lined up showed up.
Okay.
Okay, I guess you caught where he said that he shot at the guy. He thought he had shot at the guys who were working on the gutters.
Yeah. He said he had thought he had hit him, or he heard him scream, and yep.
You'll also notice that he handcuffs me. Well, they think I'm dead, so why do you handcuff a dead man?
Yeah, my wife noticed, she heard that part too, and she thought that was absolutely horrible, that they thought they just killed you, and now they're worried about handcuffing you.
So, and then, but he's kind of just laughing it off, isn't he?
Yeah. No, his attitude is absolutely like, I just killed him, and I'm worried about these other two guys, and there's no sense of responsibility or sense of like the significance of what he just did. I mean, it's absolutely like a psychopath.
Well, and he proclaims to be a Christian too.
Incredible. All right.
Rudy, roll.
Okay.
And then we still kept hearing sirens, and it wasn't very long after that. I called Lieutenant Knowles, told him what happened, and then the ambulance showed up. So we remained at the scene.
It took the ambulance 9 minutes to get to me, Rudy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They were less than 2 miles away.
That's crazy. And is Lieutenant Knowles, is he somehow associated with Sean Satterfield, which was Folsom's boss?
Well, I think that's actually Sean Satterfield's boss.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Guns holstered just the way they were until you guys arrived.
Do you know how many times you fired?
I fired 4. I fired 2 chests, 1 head. And my magazine was fully loaded, my gun was fully loaded.
How many rounds is your magazine?
I don't have it with me, but it's a 27, so I believe they hold 10.
10? Yeah, the new extended mag, it holds that extra? Or?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I do have an extended pinky grip on there, but I don't think it's the one that holds an extra round.
Do you know for sure how many rounds were in that gun?
Yeah,
your gun?
Absolutely positive.
Your gun?
Yes.
How many do you know were for sure?
There's always 10 rounds in that gun.
In the magazine and the chamber, or?
There's always the full magazine plus 1.
Okay.
It's
I got to stop it here myself, Jeffrey, and say when he said I'm absolutely positive, I mean, how can anybody believe he's absolutely positive about anything since he's given such obvious wrong testimony about what happened and what he said and the sequence of events? So it's almost laughable that this guy would say I'm absolutely positive. So.
Yeah, it really is, Rudy. It really is.
All right, we're at 25 minutes, 47 seconds. Here we go.
10 plus weapons. Yeah, 10 plus 1.
Okay.
And I remember firing 2 chests, 1 head, and then I fired again.
That's the way you were trained, correct?
Yes. And, you know, and honestly, they didn't take immediate effect. When I saw his eyes roll back up, I mean, he was still standing on his feet, and even after we handcuffed him, he sat up. And so...
Was he talking to you?
He was mumbling something, but I really couldn't hear him. Scott was talking to him.
I got to stop and hear myself. His attitude, the gentleman that's interviewing him says, was he talking to you? And he just attempted to murder you. He's mumbling something. His lack of conscience about the significance of what he just did is just astonishing, that they would hire somebody like this on the police force. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is picking that up, but his attitude about killing you is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, you really don't realize it until you hear the actual audio interview. And I'm so glad that Valerie found these and that you've given me the opportunity to go step by step with you in this.
Yeah.
Even though it is laborious and really only the hardcore supporters, and I have a few of them out there, are going to take the time to listen to this, it is my prayer that the proper officials, the Attorney General of the state, Joshua Hawley, the United States Attorney, Mr. Jensen, would take the opportunity to listen to this. The judge who's going to be ruling on my habeas corpus matter, which goes before him on Wednesday, will take the time to listen to this and bring justice to this matter. I not only need to be released from prison, but Mr. Folsom and Mr. Mertens need to be indicted for attempted murder.
Amen. Amen. Amen, Jeffrey. And we've made this point before, and I don't mean to belabor it, but people say, well, these 2 hours are a lot of time, and I don't got time to invest 2 hours into listening to Jeffrey refute Sergeant Henry Folsom. I was like, well, do you think Jeffrey has 30 years to spend in prison for a crime he could not have committed? So 2 hours is nothing, and I agree with you. I hope Josh Hawley does go through this and listen to the attitude and the demeanor of this Sergeant Henry Folsom, and not only his demeanor, but his blatant lies. We're at 26 minutes and 18 seconds, and here we go.
And when the ambulance came, he sat straight up with the handcuffs on. We took the handcuffs off, and they put him on the gurney. So,
did you handcuff him in front or back?
I handcuffed him behind his back because he was laying on his stomach, so I just handcuffed him behind his back. And I wasn't sure, you know, if he had any other weapons or anything on him, so...
And what did the ambulance personnel do?
They immediately showed up and went to work. You know, they cut his...
Wait, immediately showed up? I thought you told me it took 9 minutes. Yeah, okay. I just
sure did.
Yeah, immediately showed up. They immediately showed up.
In Sergeant Folsom's world, that's immediate.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
Clothes off, and during this whole time, his cell phone had fallen out of his pocket or something. It was laying on the ground next to him. Because they were stepping on it, I picked it up and moved it back to where I had thrown the gun and set it right there for you guys, because they were stepping on it. There was probably 6 paramedics there, and so we moved the cell phone. And I honestly thought he was maybe videoing me because he recorded, you know, Captain
I have to
Marco.
make a comment here too, Rudy.
Okay.
The cell phone that was in my pocket was in my left chest. I had chest pocket, all right?
Yep.
Valerie was on that phone. She was recording the whole thing. She had posted that on the Bourbon, Missouri Facebook page within the hour of me being shot.
Wow.
That evening, troopers from the Missouri Highway Patrol went to her residence in Kirksville, which is about 200 miles away from where I was at, and got a copy of that. So by sunset that evening, they knew that Sergeant Folsom's account of what happened did not match the audio account.
Yeah.
The watch video was not discovered till about 6 months later. Okay? But there was an audio account of it via the phone where he doesn't say anything about, it's not on the tape about the papers, it's not on the tape about the command to remove my hand off the gun. So right then and there, they would have known that Sergeant Folsom was lying.
Right.
Had they properly investigated this. The local sheriff did no investigation, even though they were on the scene taking crime scene pictures. The FBI did no investigation, even though they witnessed the attempted murder of a journalist and candidate for office. And that's America, and that was 6 years ago, my friends.
Wow.
5 years and 3 months, as you so aptly put it in the first tape.
Yeah.
So and think about where we're at today in this country with what's going on with the FBI concerning the memo and them messing with Donald Trump's campaign. And now the school shooting there in Florida, and the FBI knowing full well that this guy was a loose cannon about ready to go off. And now you have a attempted murder of a political activist, a journalist, and a candidate for office in their presence. And they let these guys go home and eat dinner with their families that night.
Incredible. Jeffrey, previously you've told me that during your trial where they had the shot caller and, you know, your lawyer is not bringing forward evidence that would exonerate you, but also you, if I recall correctly, you described a situation where the courtroom was full of Missouri State Highway troopers that were showing a overwhelming support for Sergeant Henry Folsom. So instead of like going with the truth and standing up for justice that you were attempted to be murdered, the 9/11 cult, Blue ISIS, they kind of covered for each other. And is it true that that courthouse was full of Missouri State troopers that were in there to show their support for Sergeant Henry Folsom?
Yeah, they were on the left side of the courtroom, and my folks were on the right side of the courtroom.
Gotcha.
We had about 50 people on my side, too. So
Gotcha.
It was evenly matched.
Yeah.
But it was nice to realize the difference between the left and the right.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I got you. All right. Well, let's continue, I guess.
Recording all of his contacts. That's kind of a normal thing for him. So I honestly figured that the camera was up and running with video and everything. So I just wanted to move it over there where it didn't get damaged and not touch it. So
okay. You said you came
now,
out
what
of
did you
Pastor
say
City.
there, Rudy? I didn't hear that.
Let's go back just a little bit. I agree with you. There was something about that. Let me go back. We're at 27:32. I'm going to go back to 27:11. We're going to get the last 20 seconds there.
All right.
We moved the cell phone. And I had honestly thought he was maybe videoing me because he recorded, you know, Captain Mark Ward, and he recorded.
Yep.
He honestly thought I had video of this. And he still blatantly lies.
Yeah.
The definition of a pathological liar is they think they're telling the truth.
Yeah. No, that's something there. That is something. And it's amazing that he sticks your gun back in your holster. That's his account of things, right? And the reality is it never left the holster. And then also he's like going for your phone. He's got to put your gun back in your holster, and he's like moving the phone because he's fearful that you're recording it. It's just insane what his mentality is during all of this. But
you know what? And I got the dash cam for one of the troopers. They had set 2 troopers up at each end of the highway in case I attempted to flee, okay? And I got the dash cam of one of the troopers on the way down there. When he pulls in the parking lot, they go crazy trying to direct his traffic away from me laying there because they didn't want the camera to capture what they were doing.
I see. Yeah. Right. Now,
and that's available somewhere. I don't know where it's at. Obviously, I'm very hampered.
Yeah, I understand. How about Mertens and Folsom's car themselves? Did they have a dash cam?
No, of course not.
Oh, how convenient. How convenient.
And
okay.
Rudy, I actually had another camera set up in my car, which that one vanished as well.
I see.
The word on the street also is, too, the girl at the gas station tells us that the FBI actually recorded this whole thing, too.
Yeah, how convenient that they're all missing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
27:14, here we go.
All of his contacts, that's kind of a normal thing for him, so I honestly figured that the camera was up.
I got to stop here. That last sentence he said, I honestly feared. Did you pick up that word that he said?
Not until you just said something.
Yeah, it's 27:21. Let's go back and listen to that. It's like, I honestly feared why would you choose the word feared, right? Because you wouldn't be fearful somebody's recording something if you're not doing anything that's wrong, right? But pay attention to that particular word because that really stood out to me. I remember listening to that, like, why would he choose the word feared? But I'm going to go back to, let me go back to 27:11. Okay, we're going to start and listen for that. I honestly feared.
Video on me because he recorded, you know, Captain Mark Ward, and he recorded all of his contacts. That's kind of a normal thing for him. So I honestly figured that the camera was.
You heard that? Yeah, I honestly feared he was. Yeah, that's an interesting choice of words there. All right, brother, here we go.
Up and running with video and everything, so I just wanted to move it over there where it didn't get damaged and not touch it. So
okay. You said you came out of the passenger seat. That was the front right passenger seat. Is that correct?
I came out of the right front passenger seat.
Okay. And Scott was seated in the driver's seat.
Gets his car.
No one else in your vehicle?
No one else in our vehicle.
From the time that he pulled into the parking lot to the time that shots were fired, if you had to guess, and I know that's all it is, a guess, how long do you think that took?
12, 15 seconds. You know, this is long enough to say, what are you doing with that gun? I mean, when the actual shooting started, the shooting was over in less.
Jeffrey, yep.
Rudy?
Yep. 12 to 15 seconds.
Long enough to say, just long enough to say, what are you doing with that gun?
Yeah. Yeah. What about get your hand off the gun? We got your computers. I got some papers for you to sign. Right.
You know, and I think in one of my filings I made with the court, I actually broke it down. He says 529 words in this sequence to describe what happened in 12 to 15 seconds.
Insane. I had to adjust my position because I had a bad angle. I had to take 2 steps over. He's in a bladed position. His arm swept the gun. You know, it's just insanity, the lengths he goes to cover his butt during this, you know, audio interview. And it's obvious to anybody with any common sense this guy is some sort of deranged liar who attempted to murder you. But I'm glad we're going through this, and I pray that people pay attention.
Now, how far are we into this one, Rudy?
We are 28 minutes, brother, and I don't know when he stops, but yeah, I don't know when the end is.
On our audio tape.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I see what you mean. Let me get my glasses. It's very small. It's very small writing. We're 37 minutes into this, brother.
Okay, well, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and let's go to 40 minutes with this, and we'll chop it off there, and we'll do part 3 tomorrow.
Okay. All right. We'll go for a little bit more, and I'll let you know when we hit 40.
All right.
In 3 seconds. I mean, it was, you know, I double tapped and fired the one to the head almost, you know, instantaneously as fast as I could. And I scanned, and then halfway through the scan, I heard that other gunshot. So I got back on him. He was still trying to pull that gun out of the holster, and I fired one more, and he was already rotating, but he fell straight face down, and I scanned again, and I immediately went over to, you know, start that way to see what those FBI guys were doing. They were running towards us, and then I told them to cover me while I handcuffed him. So I honestly thought there were more than one person there with a gun, because I didn't know that Scott shot. You know, I just heard a gunshot, and so when I heard a gunshot, I was already, you know, he was standing there. I was already 6 feet away. I fired another shot.
So after you shot the 3 times, you know, 2 to center mass and 1 to the head, how quick did Scott shoot after that? It was about
less than a second.
Right.
I mean, because it shocked me. I mean, because I heard it, and after I shot 2 in the chest, 1 in the head, his eyes.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. But I wanted to make another point here too. You'll notice on the camera, Mr. Mertens, right before the shooting, approaches me, and he's got his gun out, but it's pointed down to the ground. It's what they call high ready.
Right.
Or low ready, all right, to where the gun is actually out. Mr. Mertens does not raise to shoot until Folsom fires the first round. So if I'm trying to draw and doing this and that, flipping the thing back, and you know all that, what he says, Mr. Mertens would have took a more defensive position, and he didn't do it.
Right.
And there's a whole sequence of still shots right before that. Those still shots never came into the trial. They were never entered into evidence. The judge wouldn't allow the jury to see all that. My lawyer did such a poor job. He was incompetent on purpose. And the reason why I sit in this, had I descended to myself, Rudy, I would never have been here. But there again, I would never have met you, would never had an opportunity to go through all this. You got to figure that God works all things together for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose.
Amen.
So, you know what? I've sat here now for 5 years and 3 months, but at the end of the day, I've got the victory. We all know this. It's just a matter of time until someone gets a hold of all this and something is done and justice is served.
Amen. Amen,
So
brother. God bless you, Jeffrey.
I'm thankful for where we're at, but I do appreciate your time, and God bless you, Rudy. We'll cut this one a little bit shorter so other people need to use the phone, so I don't want to think this is prime time for the phone here in the prison. So I've been taking up a lot of time on the phone. I want to get off of here for right now, but I will call you tomorrow. I got to re-up on my minutes, but we're going to do that, and we'll go through the rest of this, and then we'll go through Mr. Mertens as well.
Okay,
right?
That sounds good, Jeffrey. We're at 29 minutes, so we'll pick up there tomorrow or whenever we get the next chance, and God bless you. Please know you're in our prayers, and we look forward to the day when God sets you free.
God bless you, Rudy. Have a great night now.
Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
The caller has hung up.